Yeah, morning all, right. So myself, I'm Vijay. Like I hold 20 plus years of experience in different technologies, which includes like Java, Python, big data, Hadoop, Spark with Scala, Spark with Python implementations, like and Azure Data Engineer. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not?
Yes, yes, both.
Yes,
Fine, that's fine, right? Yes. Okay, so as part of today demo, I'll be covering like the topics, right? This following topics. Why data engineer? Why data engineer required? If you go back like 10 to 15 years back, 10 years back or 10 to 15 years back, we won't see any data engineer. There's no concept of data engineer. How a data engineer is different from a typical ETL developer. A traditional ETL developer and a data engineer, how is different means a data engineer, he has got lot of responsibilities as compared from a ETL developer. ETL developer is going to deal with structured data only, right? Is going to deal with some kind of structured data. And a data engineer, he need to be able to handle all varieties of data, like handling structured data. He should be able to handle structured data. He should be able to handle unstructured data. He should be able to handle semi-structured data, and he should be able to handle streaming data. Streaming data means data which keeps on incrementing, data which keeps on generating. Such data we call it as streaming data. And also like a NoSQL data, you should be able to handle with NoSQL data, right? NoSQL data means uh, not only SQL, schemaless behavior, random access. So I should be able to handle all this typical data engineer, right? Yes. And if you talk about Azure data engineer, right? Yes. And what are the role of Azure data engineer? I'll be discussing one by one. What are the role of Azure data engineer? And people generally ask the difference between data engineer, data scientist, and analyst. What are the key differences of data engineer? And Azure data engineering products and services? What are the data engineering products or services provided by Azure? And a job market, the current job market of Azure data engineer. We have seen data engineer, uh, you have got Azure data engineer, AWS data engineer, GCP data engineer, right? But Azure, as of now, currently, right? Azure data engineer has got a great demand. I'll be just discussing about the job market of it. Okay. So here we are dealing this data engineer within the cloud environment. We are dealing this with a cloud environment, right? Yes. Which cloud? Azure cloud. We have got many clouds, many cloud providers are there, but Azure is one of that cloud. It is mostly used for data engineering purpose. Cloud generally, why we go for cloud and what is that advantage of cloud over this on premises, right? Yes. See, we have got previously on premises means we used to install everything in our local system, means we are creating some kind of networking and working with those things. What is the advantage of cloud over this on premises? Cloud is majorly utilized for storing the data, analyzing the data, and delivering the data in various forms. It's majorly used for storing, analyzing, and delivering the data in various forms. On premises, if we talk, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. On top of that, OS installation. On top of that, OS installation. You need to say OS installation. Purchasing of database license. Purchasing of database license. Installation of database server. installation of database server, and designing database objects. So we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. On top of that, OS installation, purchasing of database license, installation of database server, designing database objects. To maintain all this, we need separate teams are required. Separate teams are required. To maintain all this, right? Separate teams are required. Hardware team is required. Operating system team is required. Hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security team, database administrators required. To maintain all the above things, hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security team, database administrators. But here everything in the cloud premises. Here everything in the cloud premises. We no need to maintain all this. Everything in the cloud, we no need to maintain all this. The case of cloud, no need to maintain any infrastructure. No need to maintain any licenses. No need of any licenses. Everything in the cloud premises, right? Cloud environment. Right? So that is the advantage of cloud over this on-premises. In case of on-premises, everything we need to perform. We need to have separate teams for this. If you see the key difference, see data engineer with the help of the cloud services. Data engineers with the help of cloud services, they work on the data and make it structured and useful. Data engineers with the help of cloud services, they work on the data and make it structured and useful. They make it structured and useful. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. Data engineers responsible for preparing data, cleansing or filtering data, transforming data, and processing data. How a data engineer, the differences between data engineer, data scientist, and analyst. In a simple way, in a single word, I'll say data scientist strategizes for the future, means recommendations for the future. Data scientist recommendations for the future, strategizes for the future. Data analyst summarizes the past. Data analyst summarizes the past. Summarizes the past. Analyze the data. See, data analyst summarizes the past, analyze the data, summarize the data of the past, and visualize the data. Data scientist is going to analyze the data, identify the key patterns and recommendations for the future. See, data scientist performs like data analysis, data predictions, data classifications, data clustering, data recommendation. Data analyst for this. If you talk about a data engineer, for data management, Data management. Data management means data storage plus data processing. And data processing. Data engineer like data management, data storage, and for data processing. Data storage and data processing. Okay. Data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. Data engineer going to do all the groundwork for the data engineer and data analyst. More than 80% of the data analysis work is done by data engineers. 70 to 80% of the data analysis work is done by data engineers. Data engineering involves what are the sources of the data, from where I need to pull the data from. What are the various sources from where I need to bring the data from? What is the format of the data? In what format the data has to be? And how to transform or process the data accordingly? And what is the destination of the data? So data engineering involves this. And if you see, okay, just observe this. Why Azure Data Engineer? Why Azure Data Engineer? And why Azure Data Engineer in demand today? Why Azure Data Engineer is in demand today? For example, check with this. Observe. This is an organization. Understand, this is an organization. An organization wants to increase the business revenue. It wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data on its website. Organization, it is using Azure for its operations. It is using Azure for its operation. It is going to hire two people. It is going to hire two people. Azure data engineer and a data scientist. It is going to hire two people. One is Azure data engineer, one is data scientist. What is the primary role of Azure data engineer? He is going to create a data warehouse. He is going to create a data warehouse for the organization. What is a data warehouse? Storage of structured and queryable data. Queryable data. You are able structured data, storage of structured data. It contains data from various resources. Data warehouse contains data from various resources, such as new user logs, clicks, existing customer data, everything. Data engineer structures this data. Data engineer structures this data, stores it, monitors it in the warehouse, data warehouse. Secondly, data engineer communicates with data scientist. Data engineer communicates with the data scientist to understand the data requirement. He also communicates with the business team to know the business requirements of the organization. He has to keep in mind the business needs while dealing with the data in the hand. Okay. Data engineers, they keep constantly processing the data, analyzing the data, and monitoring the data. He creates data pipeline. Data engineer creates data pipelines. There's going to create a data pipelines. He creates data pipelines through which the data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. We also make sure that the data engineer makes sure that the pipeline is secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposures. Okay. So what is the role of, so this is the primary role of Azure data engineer. Apart from this, we can see, we see different roles. What are the other roles? Role of Azure data engineer. Designing the entire data flow architecture. Designing the entire data flow architecture. Secondly, creating a data warehouse. Creating data warehouse for storage of analytical data. For storage of analytical data. ETL, extract, transform, and load. Extract, transform, load. ETL, extract, transform, and load. They need to extract data from multiple sources, extracting data from multiple resources, transform it into structured and queryable data, and then load it into the company's storage service for further business evaluation by this data scientists. Data monitoring. Data monitoring, data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way and its data is available anywhere and everywhere where it is required. Okay. Data security. Data engineers need to secure each step without any data leaks or data exposures. Collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication. They have to constantly communicate with the business team to check if the team requires any data insights, collaborating with the data scientist, collaborating with the data scientists, collaborating with the business teams to know the data requirement, some kind of analytics. They need to have some kind of analysis. They need to have some strong analytical skills to perform some kind of analysis, and also certain things has to be automated. Certain things should be automated. They need to have some certain things. They have to automate certain process which require minimal human intervention, such as extraction. Okay. So these are the things, right? Role of Azure data engineer. Azure Data Engineering products. Azure SQL. Azure Data Lake. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks. Azure Streaming, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, and Azure Streaming, and Azure Key Vault. Just in a single word or a single line, I'll discuss what are these things. So these are the main Azure Data Engineering products or services. First, Azure SQL. In a simple way, it is a cloud. It is a cloud or DBMS or DBMS. It is for OLTP purpose. Cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations. It is for OLTP operations, not for data warehouse. OLTP captures, a OLTP system captures end user transactions. It captures end user transactions. Azure Data Lake. It is a kind of distributed file system. Distributed file system with unlimited data storage. Distributed file system with unlimited data storage. What is Azure Data Lake? This distributed file system with unlimited data in cloud. That is Data Lake. It is a repository. Azure Data Lake is a repository. It is a repository of large varieties of structured, semi-structured, and structured data. I can say Azure Data Lake is a repository for huge data, huge storage of large varieties of storage, unstructured, structured, and semi-structured. Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics, right? Azure Synapse Analytics. So for data warehouse operations, so for multiple things you go. For data warehouse operations, for the big data operations, for data warehouse operations, for big data operations, for batch processing, for batch applications, for parallel processing, for all this. Azure Data Factory. In a simple way, right, we have got like Informatica, Talent, data stage, like we have got some on-premises ETL tools. In the same way, cloud-based. It is a cloud-based. It is a cloud ETL, you can say cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure. Cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure. It is a data integration service. Later I discuss in brief about it. Azure Data Bricks. Azure Data Bricks. ADB. Apache Spark based. Apache Spark based. It is Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Apache Spark is a very high speed data execution processing engine, right? It's a very high speed processing execution model for processing huge data within a quick time. Azure Streaming. Analyzing, otherwise I can say capturing, capturing and processing high volumes of streaming data, from multiple sources, that too simultaneously. Azure Cosmos DB. It's a cloud-based NoSQL database. Protecting the data in the cloud. Azure Key Vault, right? So these are the main Azure data engineering products or services. So what is it? Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Streaming, Azure Cosmos DB. So yes, what I'll be discussing as part of this course, right? Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks. So all that services overview, starting with Azure Data Factory. What is Azure Data Factory? Data Factory architecture, Data Factory portal UI, top level components. Yes, pipeline. What is pipeline? Creating, organizing, debugging a pipeline, publishing a pipeline, parameters. Linker service. Linker service? What is linker service? Creating a linker service for blob for SQL database, SQL server. Data sets. What is a data set? Creating a data set for Avro file, CSV file, Excel file, JSON file, ORC file, Parquet file, and parameters and data set parameterizations. And activities like vector activity, variables, wait variable, like creating a variable, setting a variable, appending a variable, right? Copy data. Different types of activity: copy data, get metadata, and filter activity for each activity, triggers, trigger run, tumbling window, storage event hero, right? Self-hosted link time, and ARM templates, and also going with the data flows. What is the data flow? Mapping data flow debug, filter, like validating schema, removing duplicate rows, SCD type 1, type 2, and ADF Excel. Around 50 Excels. I'll be giving the solutions for all this. Will be Azure Databricks. No coding required, no prerequisites, no data, nothing for ADF. Azure Databricks, you'll be given knowledge on this big data, Hadoop and Spark before going with this big data with PySpark. And here cloud computing, introduction to Azure. Yes. Creating an Azure Databricks service, Databricks cluster management, Databricks handling, okay, Databricks utilities, Databricks integration with this. Databricks handling multiple file formats, Databricks batch processing, historical data, incremental data, date for transformations, aggregations, Databricks streaming API, Databricks Lakehouse, and workflows in Databricks. And apart from this, Synapse Analytics, you can check with the syllabus, huge syllabus you can see. So offerings from my side, soft copy of class notes. Hmm. Live session videos, soft copy of class notes, assignments and tasks, a WhatsApp group for technical discussion where you can have direct interaction with me within the WhatsApp. Live interactive hands-on sessions. At any point you can ask query, right? Apart from this, you'll also be getting this from my side, and also DurgaSoft also offering some offering, right? Python videos around Python videos you'll be getting, plus MySQL videos you'll be getting once you get access to this. Also like Linux. Skill scripting videos around 120 for this. So these things you'll be getting free access once you get enrolled for this course. These are the offerings from my side. So it's one of the demand, the tool demand technology in the current industry, right? Current market. So you will be getting a session video, soft copy of these notes, assignments and tasks, WhatsApp group, interview questions, right? Okay. If you see the job market of Azure data engineer, according to Microsoft, right, those lakhs of companies are getting registered themselves on Azure. More than 95% of Fortune 500 companies are utilizing Azure cloud services. This in turn increasing the number of job opportunities. See, if you talk like major companies, they're adopting Azure, they're shifting to Azure, and regularly in need of professionals. They are in need of professionals, right, who work on Azure and handle huge data. Even according to space scales, right, data science and data engineers has got the highest average salaries, the two highest paying jobs. Okay. Even I said companies like if you talk like companies like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, all are interested in hiring data engineers with great salary packages. And even companies like Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart, they're offering high paying jobs for data engineers. All right. So currently data engineering, data science is the most in boom technologies, right? Yes. And that too, if you want to, even you can demand for the salary 1.5 times more than the other technologies, right? Yes. So that is the course content. These are the offerings. Tomorrow also people can attend the session same timing at 11 o'clock using the same link to see more discussion, right? Yes. Any other queries you got? Anyone? You can unmute and you can ask your queries, right?
I said, Narendra
Yeah.
here.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have experience on this. So I am having 9 years experience in IT industry. So can I, after this course, can I go for Azure Data Engineer?
And you are working in which technology?
I am production support.
Okay, so yes, a typical 4+ years experienced person, how much knowledge he is going to have, that much knowledge you will be gaining after this course. The course
Mhm,
duration is 3 months. So
mhm,
daily it will be for 1 hour. It goes for 3 months course, right? So in brief, in depth,
mhm,
we'll be discussing about. So I didn't say 1 second. Hold on. So
mhm.
here, majorly Azure Data Engineer, right? Azure Data Engineer. ADE. In this mainly, first one, Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory will be discussed first, which doesn't
Okay.
require any knowledge, and there is no prerequisites. There is no prerequisites for this. Anybody can understand. Anybody can work. No prerequisites for this. Everything will be drag and drop. You won't write a single line code in this. Next, after Azure Databricks, it is a package, Azure Data Engineering package, right? Yes. Azure Databricks, ADB, Azure Databricks. See, Azure Databricks along with the combination of PySpark, entire PySpark also I'll be discussing in this.
Mhm.
PySpark, Spark with Python. PySpark is the very it's a hot cake in the market, right? PySpark, Spark with Python implementation, very high speed processing technology, processing huge data at quick time. And apart from that, I'll be discussing Azure Synapse Analytics. And apart from this, you'll also get knowledge on this Azure SQL. Azure SQL, where you will be in taking data input and output, taking input and writing output, and also like Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Lake. And also you'll be getting knowledge on this fabrics. So these things, apart from this four, right? So it's a package which we'll be discussing in brief about this four. Apart from this, you'll be getting knowledge of this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lakes, and fabrics. So everything you'll be understanding clearly, right? So basic Python and basic SQL knowledge is required. So that also I'll be discussing basic Python, basic Python syntaxes I'll be discussing before I go with the practical part. And also anyhow, it is providing Python videos also like a DURGASOFT, right? You can get to go through that videos. And anyhow, I'll be covering all the Python syntaxes, right? Any other queries?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I said very huge salaries are given for these data engineers. In the same way, they'll be expecting the technicals from your side. So from this course, you'll be getting all this command from this. And any other queries?
Yeah,
So
I'm good.
tomorrow also at 11 o'clock you can attend the session. Let me say one thing. Timings I didn't say, right? Timings of this batch. Let me make it clear about the timings of this. First 1 week it will be at 11 a.m. It starts at 11 a.m. But after that 1 week, it will be at starting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The timings of this batch, right? Yes. First 1 week it will be at 11 a.m. After that 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay, fine. So if I'm done with the queries, there are no other queries. I'm signing off for now. Meet you tomorrow, same time at 11 o'clock to see more discussion. You can follow the same link. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.